Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Addis Dialogue. With the program, I'm Shifarao Lagao, and my guest today is Natnael Asmelash, is Tigray community activist. We'll be spending some time with him talking about a host of issues unfolding in the state, and do stay with us. Nati, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me, Shifarao.
For the people that aren't that familiar with you, let's first start with a little bit introduction of yourself. Tell us more about yourself.
My name is Natnael Asmelash. I'm a Tigrayan activist. My goal being a Tigrayan activist is to tell all Ethiopians what is going on in Tigray, because we all know that the TPLF is controlling the Tigray people for the last 47 years. So my role or my goal, staying on social media, is to tell the Ethiopian people how the TPLF is cruel to his own people, not only to the Amhara and Oromo and other nationals.
Okay. I think you have also media that you're running. Can you tell us more?
I just started, when I started my Facebook, I have a Tigray media network. I'm doing live shows on Facebook and in YouTube. And I just started that one to tell the Ethiopians that we Tigrayans also standing against the TPLF. And also, as said before, my goal is to tell all Ethiopians that the TPLF is doing a lot of more crimes on its own people than any other people.
Talking about the TPLF, I think we are hearing that TPLF is beating the drums of war, and in fact, as we speak, it is said that the TPLF is waging war against the government. Do you have any information about that?
From the beginning, TPLF is a party that cannot live without a war. TPLF is a party who cannot live without a war. For the last 47 years, we have seen from the beginning that the TPLF is starting war against his own brothers and sisters. We can name the EPRP, EDU, and other Tigrayan political parties. They have been there in Tigray. I was like back 47 years. So after that, the TPLF came to the power, and they also start war against the Eritrean government, against OLF. I would say in Ethiopia in 1984-85, the TPLF opened its war against the OLF, Oromo Liberation Front. And now, when Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed came to the power peacefully, because they lost the power and they lost everything what they have before, the solution for them to remove the government is by starting a war. And we have seen last year, over 300,000 Tigrayans have been paid a lot of blood. They have been dying for nothing, and still the TPLF is starting on ready to wage a new war, I would say a full-scale war against the Ethiopian government and the Eritrean government. So for me, it's not new. I don't know for other people, but the TPLF is a party who cannot live without a war.
Yeah, yet another war. You know what? Captured fighters and residents also say that the TPLF is forcing the people of Tigray to join its army against the central government. Otherwise, there will be some kind of repercussions. Do you have any information in this regard? What's the latest information that you managed to find?
The latest information about that is, let's say if any Tigrayan mother has 2 kids or 3 kids, she have to send at least one. If not, she will go to jail. So currently at this time, there are a lot of Tigrayan moms. They have been in jail for not sending their own kids to the war against the central government. So what that means is TPLF is still repeating the same history what they have done 47 years ago. When they are a guerrilla fighter, a lot of moms have been jailed if their daughters or their sons are not happy to join the army. So it's still the same. They're just repeating the same history. And Getachew Reda, he was admitting last week on his interview with TMH that a lot of Tigrayan mothers have been jailed for that. So it's true. Everything what we heard from Tigray is true. Currently, there are over 2,500 Tigrayan moms. They're
jailed?
They're jailed, yes, in different cities, especially in Adwa, Aksum, and Shire.
Simply because they refused, to let their children
to join the army against the federal government or wherever. If they don't want to join the army, the only choice is they have to go to jail.
Okay. On the other hand, as you know, the TPLF is saying that it is protecting the people of Tigray, the 6 million people of Tigray, against what it calls the subjugation by the government. What is the meaning of this?
The TPLF is using all the time a coverage by naming the people of Tigray. I'm the only savior of the people of Tigray. But this has been using it for the last 47 years. So, as I said before, when they are 47 years ago, when they started the struggle against the Derg government, they still talking about they are the only party they care for the people of Tigray, but that's not true. They're using the people as a coverage for their own political agenda. Economically, if you see that in about 27 years, that any businessman cannot invest in Tigray unless it is the effort company. So they're pretending they fought for the people of Tigray, but that's not true. So when they say we are the only savior of the people, that's a coverage for their political agenda.
Okay. The TPLF seems to be desperate to restore its power of the central government, and I think it is resorting to forcing the people of Tigray, especially the youngsters, to join its army against the central government. On the other hand, I think the people of Tigray seem to be, sick and tired of this. In fact, we are hearing that they're showing much reluctance to join its army after the March ceasefire that the government declared. What's your take on that, and do you have any information in this regard?
The people of Tigray is tired of the war. Since the day one when the TPLF became a guerrilla fighter, the people of Tigray have been 7 years, peaceful years only. So from when they fought the Derg for 17 years, the people of Tigray is in the war. So the only peace they have, the people of Tigray have the only peace in 1983 before the Badume war. And then the next, after the Badume war, the people of Tigray is still in the war for 2-3 years. And there is a policy of no war, no peace policy. It's been for 20 years. So the people of Tigray is still on the war with no war, no peace policy by the TPLF for 20 years. And after that, when the new government came here and the border between Ethiopia and Eritrea is opened, the first party who opposed this peaceful is the TPLF. So still they're going to the war again with the federal government. So the people of Tigray is tired of the war. As you heard, they told us in the last 1 year, 3,000 young Tigrayans have been dead because of the war. And now they're starting to start a new full-scale war against the federal government. So the people of Tigray is tired. Because of the war, the only people who are suffering because of this war is the people of Tigray. But all the other TPLF oligarchs are still doing their own business. So that's why the people of Tigray is tired of the war.
Okay. In this connection, some foreign media outlets, especially the Western media outlets like the Reuters, are also reporting that the TPLF is forcing the people of Tigray to join the army, or else the parents would be, as you said, either jailed or heavily fined. Now, let's also talk about their reporting. Do you think that their resort to such kind of reporting is because they are simply practicing journalistic principles, or is it that they are losing maybe faith in the TPLF?
It can be two reasons. The first of all, the TPLF was ready before the war. When they have planned what to say for the foreign media and local media. Yeah. So they have the ability to tell the foreign media and foreign leaders with fake news and propaganda and exaggeration, whatever you can call it. So they have the power of that for the last 1 year. They have been telling the foreign media that there is a rape in Tigray, killing in Tigray, but they don't want to tell them there is a rape have been when the TPLF in the power. Tigray is the first region. We have the evidence from Tigray TPLF supporters. Yeah. So during the TPLF time, the rape case is high, but they don't want to talk about that because the TPLF is in the power. But when the TPLF lose the power, they misinform the Western media with different things.
Yeah.
Now, after a time, they start to get more information from different sources. So I would say the foreign medias are starting to realize what the TPLF tell them is everything lie and false. So I think that's the case now. The Reuters have their own article or whatever research they're doing, and they're telling us the truth, and it's true. Because what they told by the TPLF is everything is based on fake news and lies.
Okay. The TPLF is also saying that it is releasing soldiers that it captured in its fight against the federal government. You know, in a fight with the federal government, is there such a thing as captives in your view? So what is going on? What is it up to now that it's saying that it's gonna release some captives?
I don't think so that's true, because we all know that the TPLF told us boldly on the media that they have been taking a measure against the Ethiopian Defense Force. So I would say those soldiers are the soldiers. They have been captured accidentally, but they're not captured in the war.
Yeah.
But as we know, if there is a war, the consequence of the war is it can be who wants the war can have soldiers from different parties. But I don't think so. The only thing I can say is that those are the soldiers. They have been captured during the what did they call it? A lightning measurement or whatever, but yeah. I don't think so that's true.
Okay. We're also hearing that it is also blocking or sidetracking the humanitarian aid being delivered to the state of Tigray. This is really inhuman, right?
Yeah, but TPLF is using for a propaganda or for the reason. If they want the people of Tigray to join the fight against the federal government, they have to use different kinds of systems to tell the people that the federal government is against the people of Tigray.
Yeah.
So one of the issues is the humanitarian issue. The federal government is not against the people of Tigray, and I can assure you that the federal government is nothing to do with the humanitarian blockage. That's the TPLF political agenda, because they have to tell the people that the federal government is blocking humanitarian access, but that's not true. They even if after that, when the federal government is agreed to send the humanitarian aid, from what we have evidence this time is the people of Tigray didn't get anything from the humanitarian aid when they receive it, but the TPLF are they still feeding their own soldiers because they are ready for the next full-scale war.
Okay. You know what, Nati, let's also talk about Ethiopian expats, especially those of Tigray origin in the United States of America and, of course, other parts of the globe. Are they denouncing whatever the TPLF is doing? What have you observed in this regard?
I would say the majority of diasporas they are siding with the TPLF, not with their people. So they don't care about the people of Tigray. They just care about their own, the TPLF party and their leaders. So that's why we have seen a lot of things. For example, I would say they have been receiving over $2 million from GoFundMe, and we don't know where their money is going. So I would say the majority of the Tigrayans, they are not supporting their own people. They are against their own people, but they're supporting the TPLF.
Okay. This could be partly because of deliberate intention, and maybe partly because of lack of information, right? So what should be done in this regard?
I would say the first thing is, as you know, all the oligarchy, the TPLF leaders and their families, they don't live in Tigray. They live outside the US or they live in Europe. So those are the people, they are doing everything because they have full of financial aid from the TPLF, from the IFAD company. But the majority of Tigrayans, I would say, it is ignorance. I have to tell you the truth. So what we have to do is, but at this time, we have seen a little bit of difference because from the source what we get from Tigray, Tigrayan mothers are jailed by the TPLF. So there's a little bit of the Tigrayan diaspora start to think about what is happening in Tigray, but we will see what will happen in the next 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Foreign rights groups such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have said, as reported by some Western media outlets, that they did not have enough information to denounce the TPLF. What are some of your observations in this regard, and what should be done in the future?
I would say this would be a lack of the Ethiopian government foreign policy, or the ambassadors working in different states such as the US, the Europe and Canada. I think they have a lack of information to feed the foreign governments about what's going on real in Ethiopia.
Okay.
But as we know, the TPLF was ready before the war, so they know how to propagate things. So I would say the Ethiopian foreign policy needs to be changed to feed the foreign governments what is going on in Ethiopia.
Okay. So in this regard, what kind of roles should Ethiopian media outlets play to clearly communicate what is going on in Ethiopia?
I would say just feed the what's the evidence what is happening in Ethiopia. Especially they have to work hard day and night, and they have to follow what the Tigrayan mediums have been said every day. So they have to get the evidence for the other outlet medias and government. So even the Ethiopian government, I believe, needs any better medias and foreign policy.
Okay. Okay, especially media outlets in foreign language.
Media outlets, and especially the ambassadors, whoever working on the embassy, they have to work hard.
And what should the international community do?
I would say we all know that Dr. Abiy is not the other. He is not like the other prime minister. He don't want any intervention of foreign countries in our own country or in our politics. So we all know that they don't like that one. The second thing is we have to look up on the geopolitics, what's happening in the world. Of course, the Ethiopian government, from my stand, needs to work hard on the foreign policy, especially TPLF. I would say this follow up what the TPLF is doing, saying to the other foreign governments, and you need to respond on a time.
Okay, so the government and media outlets, Ethiopian media outlets, should also be proactive rather than following whatever is being said by others, right?
Yes, that's what I would like to say.
Yeah, yeah. And finally, as a Tigrayan activist, what is your message to the people of Tigray, especially to the youngsters, to Ethiopians, and to the international community?
As a Tigrayan, my message to all Tigrayans is the first and the last enemy of the people of Tigray is the TPLF. So we have to fight together against the TPLF. We don't have any enemies, especially the Amhara people. They are not our enemies. They are still our brothers and our sisters. And we have seen a lot of Tigrayans. They are now fleeing to the Amhara Kulil. So the Amharas are not our enemies. We don't have any Oromo enemies. We have only one enemy, that's the TPLF. And for the Ethiopians, especially for the Amhara, I would like to say thank you for helping the Tigrayans. They are fleeing from Tigray to the Amhara region. So general message to the Tigrayan diasporans, we have been suffering for the last 47 years because of the TPLF. So we have to fight against the TPLF.
All right, Nati, thank you so much for your ideas and for coming here and sharing with us your ideas.
Thank you for inviting.
Well, dear viewers, with that we come to the end of today's program, and many thanks for your company so far. Until I see you next time with yet another program, it's goodbye from me, Shfaralakum.